So hello everyone, in today's video we are going to make the authentication part of our application. As you can see here, we have a sign up part and also we have a login part here. So we are going to make this part of our application. Here the user need to give their email address, password and confirm password, then first name, last name, and then the date of birth, and then he can join our application. And after that, if he need to log in again, he can log in by giving his email and password. And let me show you after login. So after login, as you can see, I am logging here as a admin. So if I reload the page, it is not going to show me that I need to like login again. It is going to show me that hey admin, you are in and here is your profile, like this. And okay, the name is not visible here, I guess. Yeah, now it is visible. And it's because of the cookies we have saved in our browser. Let me show you. In our cookies side we have some cookies here, and if I open it, you can see that we have some cookies here. Or it will be better if I show it in the application tab. So in the application tab we have this JWT token. I will be talking about this JWT token, but for now just remember that because of this JWT token we are able to maintain the session. And by maintaining the session, I mean that we don't have to log in again and again and again. And this is only responsible for us to keep our to keep our information in the browser, so that we don't need to log in again. If I remove this JWT token, you will be able to see that I am no longer logged in and I need to log in again. So that's the thing. So how to make this part? So first let me explain to you how to make the join in part, like the backend. In the front end we can make these stuffs, but what happens in a backend really matters. So let's go to Sally Draw, and then let me show you. So imagine this is our controller code for creating the user. We will be creating these stuffs. So this is for the create user route, or you can say this is the create user function. And here we will be sending some informations like our email address, our password and confirm password, first name, last name and date of birth, through this form directly to this function. So let's write those stuffs like the first name, last name and password, and then we are going to have the email address and also the date of birth. So these are the parameters which we are going to send from our front end. And now after serving these parts to our front end, to the form or to the function, it consists of a password, right? And now this password will go in this form. And there is one way, like we can let's say this is our database, MongoDB database. Go DB. So these are MongoDB database, and let's say here we can directly store these data, but it's not a good idea to store the password directly to our database. So what we can do, we can use some encryption algorithm to encrypt the data and then pass the encrypted data to the database and store that encrypted password or the encrypted data. So we won't be like converting the whole data into an encrypted form, because it's not necessary. We just need to like encrypt the password only, because the password is a vulnerable like vulnerable data. So for that reason we only need to like store the password in an encrypted form. So by encryption I mean like hashed password. So we will be storing here a hashed password. So hashed password. So how are we going to like hash the password? There will be certain algorithms. So we will be using those algorithms. So let's say this is an algorithm, the round part, and so this is the algorithm, and here we are going to pass our password inside this, and not only password, here we will be giving a random like a random 256 character data, which let's call it a random data or random value. So random value, and by adding these two stuffs, like there will be a random value and there will be our password, and we will be putting these two in the algorithm, and it is going to produce a hashed password. So the random value will be called as salt. So let's write it here. So salt. So it will be a random stream of data which we will be encrypted, the which we will be using to encrypt the password and to store the hash password. And we are also going to use the salt, like we are also going to store the salt here. So salt, this is the random value. So you can think of a random value like the salt as a key which we will be storing, and there will be a lock. So we will be using this key to open the lock and get our original password later on when we will be requiring that to check the password again. But for now, just remember that here we have a encryption algorithm, and it will be taking the password and the salt, and it will be giving us a hashed password. Okay, yeah, something like this. And let's decrease the opacity of these stuffs. Yeah, so we will be using this, and it is going to give us a hash password which we will be storing in our database. So what are the data which are going to store in our database? So let's see. So we will be storing our id, of course, because okay, yeah, so as you know that the id is made automatically whenever we store the data. So we will be storing the id along with the salt, and then the hashed password. Then we will be having the like the name will be password, but it will be in the form of the hashed password. And then after that we will be having the first name, last name, and the date of birth. Okay, so these are the parameters which we are going to store in our database. Now and so this is our first part. Let's call it part 1, where we are making the hashed password, and this is number 2. Okay, okay, sorry for this, let's delete this. Yeah, and this will be step 2, where we are going to store our data in the database along with the hashed password. Now um, Here, if you remember, here I was logged in as an admin, so that's a role. Like you can log in as an admin or as a client, so the client will only be allowed to see the data, and the admin have some special rights to like modify the data. So in here, we will be making a JWT token. If you remember, here we have used that JWT token to show the login. So we will be using the ID and the role to make the JWT token. You can add some like other datas also, like first name, last name, to store in the JWT token, but it's not required. The only thing which we required is the JWT, like the role and the ID. So I am just going to take those roles. After some time I am going to explain the JWT token, so don't worry if you don't know about the JWT token for now. So just remember that we will be also using the JWT token to store the data in our browser. Like whenever we create the data, we are going to store the data also in our browser, so that whenever someone creates an account, he should get logged in immediately, and he don't need to whenever someone sign ups, he don't need to log in again. And that's the thing, he will get logged in immediately, and after that if he reloads also, he will be logged in as a user. So like that. So here, let's say it's our browser, and this is our browser, and inside our browser we will be sending the ID and the role from this function, the create user function, and it will be stored as a JWT token, um, in the form of a JWT token. Okay, and this JWT token will be stored in our browser in the encrypted form. So also let's write it here directly. So the ID and the role will be like in the encrypted format, which is JWT token. Okay, and the JWT token will be a form of random characters, like, let me show you, like this. And it will be stored as a cookie, so this will be called a cookie. Okay. um yeah, so it will be saved in the form of cookie. If you don't know the meaning of cookie, then let me tell you. So cookie is a type of storage on the browser which is set by a website. So it is used to remember some data about you. In our case, it will be the ID and the role. Okay, so it will be a token. The JWT token will be a type of token. Let's write it like this. So let's say this is a token in our case, and yeah, so this is the first part where we will be creating the user, and for the next part we will be logging the user. But first, let's create the user first. Okay, so let's go to the VS Code. Okay, and let's first create the backend. So in today's video we are going to create the backend first and then our front end. So let's go to the controller, or let's say index.js. and sorry for that. So today we are going to make one more model, which is user, which is going to store the first name, last name, and the hashed password. So let's make that one first. So in the models, let's create user.js, and here let's make the schema for the user. So const mongoose equal to require mongoose, and then const schema equal to mongoose. So like the same parts we have done earlier, and then const user schema equal to new schema, and then first the email, which will be of type string, and required will be true and unique will be true because we want the email to be unique. Okay, and email and the password will be in the form or type buffered. So as it will be a random password, we will be storing it in the form of buffer. For now, just remember that buffer is a type which is used to store the stream of characters, which will be a unique character which we are going to make using the salt, like the encrypting the salt along with the password. Okay, and this will be our password. Required will be true, and here we don't need to add unique because the email could be different but the password can be same with 2%. It won't create that difference. Okay, and next will be the role. So role will be a type of string, and require will be true, and by default whenever someone log in he will be a user, and then the address. So address, if like here we are taking address, I guess. So in the joiners, currently we don't have an address, but we are going to store some address here whenever someone adds a address. So we are going to store the address also. So a user can store multiple address, like if you have seen in Amazon or Flipkart, you can add multiple address. So here also you will be able to add multiple address. So type will be uh, like it will be a mixed type. So schema dot types dot mixed. Okay, let me show you the address. Okay, not this part actually. I need to open my original database, which is the cluster. Yeah. So here in the Nike, you can see in the users, here we have some password which is in a binary format, and it's a stream of data which is unreadable, and along with that we have addresses here. Like as you can see inside the addresses, we will be storing name, email ID, city, state, pin code, and phone number, etc. So it will be a type of object. So in the address we will be storing a like a array of objects, like as we have stored in our products. If you recall, remember here that in our colors we have stored in the similar format, it was an array of objects. So in like it will be similar to that. Okay, addresses is here, and the first name will be type of string, and require will be true. Then last name will be type string and require will be true. And okay, first name last name is done, and then date of birth will be a type of string. So we will be storing the date of birth in the form of string because we are not going to use it for now. Default it will be like let's say it will be empty, and along with that we will be storing a reset password token. So I will be explaining it whenever, like if you remember that we also have a reset function optionality in the login. If you forget password, then you can reset the password, so it requires a token, so we will be storing that also. That part I will be covering in another video, but for now let's make the reset password token, which will be a type of string, and require will be true. And along with that, as I have explained you that I will be storing a salt. So if you remember here, I have shown you that we will be also storing the salt in our database so that we can decrypt our password whenever we need it. So buffer, and the salt will be in form of buffer, and yeah, that's it. um, we only need these stuffs, and if we want we can also store the timestamp, which will be true, let's say. So we will be storing the timestamp also. And now let's export the user. So exports.user equal to mongoose.model user comma user schema. Okay, so we have successfully made the model, and now let's make a route. So for the route, there will be two type of route, one for the one for the user, and the second one will be for the authentication. So why we are making two route, we can make a single route. So we are making two routes because the authentication will be in a different part, and for fetching the user or updating user will be in a different part. So for that functionality we are making two route. So for now we are just making the auth, so let's make the auth route. So in the routes, let's make auth.js, and in the auth.js let's export express. Okay, so this express, and now password will be, sorry, not password actually, sorry for that. Okay, so now router, these things I have explained in my earlier video, so if you don't recall these things, you need to see the earlier video and recall these stuffs. So express.router. Okay, and now we have created a router. Let's export the router. Now in a similar way, let's add this router in the index.js. Like here, um, its name is auth router, and here will be route slash auth or auth. Okay, so our auth router is created, and now we need to make the function for creating the user. So for that, let's go to controller and create the auth.js so that we can make the controllers or the functions for creating the user. So here we are going to make the authentication part, like for creating the user. So exports dot create user or create user, and so if you remember, this is the function which we are creating right now, equal to async request response. And let's see whether the request is coming here or not. um, so we are going to make or just response dot status 200 for now, just for testing purpose. I am just making a response with a message of, let's say, this route is working. Okay, let's check now in our postman. So http dot slash localhost 8080 slash auth slash so what was the route? Okay, create user, and now hit enter. Okay, it is not working because we have not added the function in the route. So let's go to the route, in the auth here, and route, router dot, it will be a post method, so it will be slash create user, and the function will be create user, and let's import it, and now let's see whether it is working or not. Okay, let's make it post, and now it is still not working. So http dot slash slash localhost 8080. Okay, we have not started the server yet, so let's go to cd backend, and let's start the server by typing nodemon index.js, and let's see. Now it is working, and the app is listing on port 8080. Now if you will send, it will show you that cannot post auth slash create user. Okay, so what's the matter? Let's put the postman here, and now let's see. Oh, sorry, I removed the whole stuff, but okay. In the auth we have used create user here. Okay, and then in the index.js I have, okay, I have not entered, like, I have not applied the middleware. So server dot use slash auth, and here um auth router dot router. Okay, now it should work. So postman out here, and now let's make it post and send the request, and now you can get a message from the route that this is working, this route is working fine. Okay, so now let's make the create user function in the auth of the controller, and the first thing which we need to do is we need to first um, like the first thing which we are going to do with this data is we are going to find that whether a person with the same email exists or not. So if a person with the same email exists, then we are not going to make the account, and we are going to tell him that the email already exists and we can't make another account using the same email. Okay, so for now, here, first take the user. So let user equal to await user dot find, and here we are going to find the user using the email. So email will be coming from the request body, so request dot body dot email. Okay, so from here we will be getting an user. Like, it depends on whether the user exists or not. So if the user exists, so we can write it like, let's console.log the user to see now. In the body, let's add some raw JSON data. Let's say email will be like@gmail.com. This email doesn't exist in our database, so it is going to, like, it is not going to give us anything. Okay, await user. We need to import the user also. Okay, not like this. Um, we need to import the user from the auth, actually from the user route. So from here we need to import it. Okay, yeah. So here we are importing the user from the model of user, and now let's post the request and let's see. So we are getting an empty array, that means the user doesn't exist. And if I type here, let's say admin, which you know exists because in the first part of the video I have shown you by logging in as an admin. So let's cancel it, and now if I send it, you will be able to see an empty array. Okay, because in our database we don't have anything like that. So let's do one thing. um, in our Nightclone application, here we have a user now. So let's create a data by ourselves. um, let's say we have a email that will be while document contains error. Okay, whatever. So admin @ gmail.com. So we are going to insert this one, and for now just import this, like just insert this part only. Okay, and now if we will be sending the request, it is going to show us that there is a user with email ID this one, but as you know, we have just sent the email, so we will be getting the email only. But if I send some other thing like j@email.com, and if I send the request, you will see an empty array. That means that there is no user. So we will be writing a statement that if the user dot length exists, that means the user exists. And if the user already exists, then we are not going to create the user using the same email. So return response dot status of 400 with, okay, with error that user already exists. Not error, actually, let's write it message. Okay, that, yeah, that email already exists or user already exists. And if the user doesn't exist, so let's write a try catch block. This is for the safety, that if if there is some error, then we can show the error up here. And now in the try, we are going to put the user in the database. So before putting the user, if you remember, we need to use salt and the password to encrypt the data. Like the password will be changed into a hashed password, right? So for that, let's here we need a salt. So how are we going to like get the salt? So for the encryption, we will be using PassportJS LocalStrategy. So let's go to PassportJS, and if you don't know PassportJS LocalStrategy, then let me tell you a brief description for now. That like the passport local is like a middleware or module, specifically provides a strategy or um, a strategy called local strategy for authenticating user using a username and password. So it is used to authenticate using the username or password. So here if we will go in the documentation and go to user and password, sorry, um, not actually here in the sign up, then we can find that here we have a crypto.pkbdy, and here we have a salt. So this is the encryption algorithm, and here we have a salt, like here it is showing us a function to get a random byte number so that we can use that to encrypt our password. So let's copy this part to produce the salt. Here, paste it here. Crypto, we need to import crypto. So crypto is a built-in module in Node.js, so we can use that. So here, let's make it const salt equal to crypto dot random byte. Let's import the crypto. So const crypto equal to require crypto. We don't need to like install anything called crypto. It is a built-in module. So we got the salt. If I show you the salt, then you will be able to see that it is a random byte of data. Mm, like let me show you here. As you can see, it is random data, and if I send it as a response, then you will be able to see it more clearly. Okay. um, yeah, so here you can see that it is a random byte of data, and it will be unique for every user, because whenever, like if I click on send again, it is going to give me a different data. Let me show you. As you can see, it is giving me a different data, but we only need this data once for every user. So for that reason, we are also saving the salt, so that we can get that data once and can store it in the database. Okay, and now we are going to, we got the salt and we have the password in our use request body. So we are going to use this encryption function, you can say. So let's copy this one until um here we have the salt function. Just copy this part only and paste it here. Okay, something like this. And here we need to give the request dot body dot password, and we have gave that to it, and we have also gave this salt, and this is the encryption algorithm SHA 256. So if you don't know SHA 256, so let me tell you about something about SHA 256. So SHA 256 is a hashing algorithm. um, like simple hashing algorithm it is called, and it is made by using 64 character, I guess. Like if I remember, then it consists of 64 characters with 4 bytes each. So 64 into 4, that's why it is 256, and for that reason it is called SHA 256. Yeah, so that's the reason why it is called SHA 256. Now, in this function, we are going to get the hashed password and an error here. So let's handle the error first. Um, or okay, just leave. Like I don't think there will be any error. So let's first console log the hashed password uh, to see what's the password, or um, let's give it as a response. Okay, so let's see what we get as a hashed password. Code error, invalid argument type. Okay, so we did some mistake, I guess. So in here we have we are sending a response dot status 200 dot json of hashed password. So using this algorithm we should get the hashed password, and okay, it is password argument must be a type of string or an instance of array buffer. Okay, so request dot body dot password. Let's for once let's console log the user. Sorry, not the user, the request dot body. Okay, if you remember, we have not given any password, so request dot body won't be having any password. So let's give a password with something like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, something like this. And now if we will hit send, you will be able to see that this is our hashed password, which is also a type of buffer. So for that reason, we in the models we have stored the hashed password and the password too in the form of buffer. So here the salt is also saved in the form of buffer, and the password is also saved in the form of buffer, because the hashed password is in the form of buffer. So now we have got the hashed password, and now we are going to save the password. So in the user, if you know that we are not going to get the user because there is no email, so we need to store the user. So user equal to a new user, so we are going to make a new user, and the email will be in the request.body.email, or you can just add something like request.body. I'm using a spread operator because every detail like the email, the password will be sent in the body, so I'm just using the spread operator to give. And we need to change the password actually, otherwise the password will be the password which we have sent in using the body. So here the password will be hashed password and the sort will be sort. So if the name is same, then we don't need to write it multiple times. We can write it like this. And now if we save it, like the user is this, now we need to save this user. So let's write const doc equal to await user dot save. So this is going to save the user in our database, and here we are using await, so the function should be async. So async await, and now if I console.log it here, or if I hit send, okay, then you will be able to see that in our database. If I reload it, we have a password which is in a binary format and the salt. Now the salt is also in the binary format, and um, after this um, we so for the next step, let's see the next step. So we have done the creating the user. We have also like stored the data in the database, and for the third part, now we are going to stored the data like the ID and the role in the browser up here. So before that, let's see is what this doc consists of. So response.status of doc, okay, of 200.json doc. Now let's see what this doc is going to consist of, but before that let's delete this element first, otherwise it is not going to create again. So if I send this request, you can see we got a response, and this response consists of email, password of type buffer, and then we have the role which is user, and addresses with array which is empty. We have the date of birth, we have the salt. So here we have the ID and the created at and updated at. Now with my example, I have used the ID underscore ID and the role and store it in the browser. So we are going to store it in our browser, but first we need to make it in the form of JWT token. And after that we will be storing it in our browser. So we will be using the role and the ID for that. So let's go to our passport.js and let's search for JWT token. And here we need to install passport JWT to convert any data into a JWT token. And how we need to convert is written here, I guess. So somewhere up here it will be written. Let's see. um, okay, not here actually. Let me just show you what is the JWT token. So here this JWT token is a JSON Web Token, and it's like whatever data you give you, it will be encoded in this format, which will be a random data, like which will be a random stream of characters, whatever data you can give. So in our case, we will be giving an object which is going to consist of our ID and the role. And now after that it is going to convert it into a JSON Web Token like this one. And actually I am not getting the algorithm like from which we need to make the JWT token. In the documentation, in the authentication, I guess we are going to have that. um, okay, let's go to the strategy and write JWT up here. passport JWT cookie combo. Let's see here. um, okay, so we can use this stuff for signing the for signing the token. So here JWT dot sign, and here we need to give the object, like in our case it will be the ID and the role, and here we need to give a secret key for the encryption. Okay, and it is going to give us the token out here, so we will be using this part. So we need to install npm install JWT passport cookie combo, or we can just use passport JWT, I guess. So just copy this one only, because the algorithm will be same. Make one more terminal in the backend, and now paste it. Npm install passport JWT. I guess I have already installed it. Let's see in the package JSON. Okay, so in package JSON we have passport JWT, so we don't need to install these stuffs. So here we are getting the document here, and after sending the document we are not going to give the response here. We are going to give const token equal to JWT, which we need to like import from Json Web Token. So here if we go in this one, they are importing it from Json Web Token. So let's import from Json Web Token, and now we are going to use this JWT out here. So token equal to JWT dot sign, and here we need the ID. So the ID will be like the ID and underscore ID, and the user will be something like not the user, actually we need to give the role as doc.role. I guess we can make a function to like convert the data with the to ID and role, because we are going to use it in many other parts of the application. So in the backend, let's make a file name or folder called constants. So in the constant we are going to make another file known as services.js. Okay, wrote a wrong name. So services.js, and inside this services.js we are going to make a function. So exports dot sanitize user, let's say. So what this function is going to do is it is going to take a user and going to return a user in the form of an object. So it is going to return an in the form of object with like the ID. So the ID will be user dot underscore ID, and the role will be user dot role. Okay, so this how the sanitize user is going to work, and we are going to import it in our auth controller. And in here we don't need to write all these stuff now. We can simply pass sanitize user, and inside here we can find give the doc here, and then we need to provide a secret key. Like let's for now write secret or something like hello. Okay, um and now it should give us a JWT token. So Let's see the token first. Console or response.status 200.json of, let's say, token. Now let's see out here. Hmm. Okay. Let's send the request. Okay, we need to delete the user first. So let's delete him once again. Or not this one actually. This one. Yeah. So we have deleted the user, and now let's check. So as you can see, this is our JWT token, and now we are going to set it as a cookie in our front end. But before that, I hope the sanitize user is working. Let's check it once for safety purpose. Sanitize user and then doc. Let's see whether it is properly working or not. Let's again delete this one, and now let's check. And as you can see, it is giving us the ID along with the role, so it is working correctly. So just remove the console log, and here we are getting the token. So now we want to set the token as a cookie in our browser, so we can send it like set it like response dot cookie, and in the cookie we need to set JWT, like the key and the value, which will be the token, and then we need to send the response, and um, also we need to send something like we need to give some parameters, like what will be the expiry date of the token. Like in my site, I am going to give it for 1 day, like the token will be won't get expired in 1 day, but after the day complete it will get expired, so that the user can log in the next day. It depends on our use case. Like in some application we want the user to log like to be logged in for 1 week or 1 month, and after that he need to log in again. So something like that, we can give this functionality using the expires. So expires, and the expire will be new date. Yeah. um Let me tell you the format. So new date is going to give us the date of today, and now we need to give the seconds, like from now to how much time it is going to stay. So we need to give it in the form of milliseconds. So for that, let's multiply it first with 1000, and then um, with 1000 into 60, which will give us a second, into 60, which is going to give us a minute, sorry, a hour. So 60 into 1000 is going to give us 60 seconds, and then into 60 will give us an hour, and then into 24 is going to give us 24 hours. Okay, so it works like that. And now HTTP only will be true. So, and in the JSON we are going to send let's say the ID as doc.id, or you can just simply give the sanitize user function of the doc. Okay, so as a response you can send it like it. Actually it doesn't matter because we are not going to read the response anyway, but still let's delete the data once more, and let's check whether it is working or not by sending the response. And here maybe okay, I was using these things tomorrow yesterday, so for that it is set like this. I am going to remove these things. So from the cookie, let's remove the two cookies and hit refresh. And this will be the email and this will be the password. And okay, why it is showing that you have a cookie? Let's carry out another request up here. Here let's carry it in our body as a JSON, paste it here, and also the URL, copy, cut it, and paste it here. Now hit post. Now, if I will send the response, um, okay, for now just remove the cookie part, and now let's see. Hit send, and as you can see in the cookie section we don't have any cookie because we have not set any cookie yet. But in the response we are receiving the ID along with the role. So if we will put the cookie out here and again send, before that let me clear the data. Yeah, delete the data, and now if I hit send you will be able to see one cookie, that is the JWT token with the value of the token. So this value will be stored in our browser. um, I'm going to show you this part when we are going to make the front end, but for now we have completed this part of the application, which is like creating the user and storing the JWT token in the browser. So this was our third part. Third part is completed. So this part is completed. Now we are going to make the login part. So now we are going to make the login part, and for the login part, initially we are going to use a middleware. But first, let's say this is the login function. Let's let login. Okay, so this is the login function, and we can do login from here, but we are going to use a middleware which will be a LocalStrategy middleware. And let me tell you again the description of a passport local. So passport local is an authentication middleware module specially provides a strategy called local strategy for authenticating user using the email and password. Okay, so for the it is going to use the username and password actually, but we are not taking any username. As you can see in our login, we are taking the email and password, so we are going to use the email instead of the username. So let's say as input, first we are going to give the email and the password. Then we are going to pass it first into the middleware before the login. So let me place it here, and let's say this is the middleware, the local strategy middleware, local strategy middleware. Okay, sorry, actually my throat is not good. Okay, so here now we are going to fetch the user using the email, and if they don't exist then we are going to return false or invalid credentials. Otherwise we are going to check whether the password is right or not. Okay, so how we are going to do that? So first we are going to fetch the user using the email. If they don't exist, we are going to return false or invalid credentials. Okay, so we are going to fetch the user using the email. If they don't exist, we are going to return false, but if they do exist, what we are going to do, let's say um, the user exists. Okay, so in that case we are going to check whether the password is correct or not. So actually we are passing it here. Okay, yeah, so here we are going to check whether the password is equal or not. Let's say this is a function which is going to check that, and here from here we are going to get the email and password. So here we are going to get the email and password, and we are going to fetch these things from the database to this function. So initially we are going to fetch like this. So here we are going to get all these fields, and now here if you remember we have a salt and the hashed password, so we will be using this salt up here. So this is the salt which we are going to use, and we are going to like encrypt this salt with the password which we are providing from the login, which is this one, and then we are going to get the hashed password like similar to this one, like here. Here we are using the salt and the password to encrypt into a hashed password. So we are going to do the similar thing here, and we will be getting the hashed password. Now after that we are going to check whether this hashed password is equal to the hashed password which we are getting from the database or not. So like this, if the hashed password from the database is equal to that of the, so if the hashed password from the database is equal to the hashed password which we have created in this function, then we can say that the user is authenticated and he have gave it the right password and the right email. So we will be sending like we will be forwarding the request into this function, and this function is going to make the JWT token and pass it into the browser as and if it like gives the JWT token into the browser, then automatically he will be said to be logged in, because as you know that we will be using JWT to tell the browser about our details, so that he can know that we are authenticated. So our login function is going to make this token and set it in the browser. Okay, so this is the thing for our login. So let's do this stuff also. Let's go to our code again, and in here let's make the login. So exports.login equal to request response, and here, yeah, so here if we receive the response, no, sorry, request, we are going to send this just for checking. So response.status to 100.json request received. Okay, let's check it, but first we need to add this function in our routes. So dot post login user, and here login user. Actually let's name it as login user, and now let's add it. login user. And also in the index.js we need to add the route. Actually we have already added the route for the auth. Okay, now let's check whether it is working or not using the postman. Yeah, so it will be a post request login user. Okay, let's hit send and it is showing us the message is request receive. Okay, fair enough. So we are going to use the local strategy middleware. So for that we need to set the local strategy middleware first. So let's go into our passport.js and let's search for the local strategy, passport local, and up here this is the local strategy. So yeah, so we will be using this one, so copy it and after that you can paste it here, actually in the index. After the routes I'm going to paste it up here. So we are going to use this local strategy and it is saying us that passport is not defined, so we need to import the passport. So up here just write somewhere const passport equal to require passport. Okay, and now it is saying that local strategy is not defined. Okay, so we also need to import the local strategy. So const local strategy equal to require um, passport local dot strategy. So this is how we are going to import the local strategy. Just remember you also need to add dot strategy at the end. Okay, now we have successfully imported the local strategy and here we are taking a user, but we are not going to use the user. Actually we are going to use the email. So just write here email and up here we need to give a async function actually, and for now I'm going to remove all these other stuffs. Okay, so from here we are going to get the email password and then done, and you can also name the strategy like here we can use local. So this is the strategy name. For the JWT we are also going to give the name as JWT. Okay, so what's the first part we are going to do? Let's see in our diagram. So in our diagram we are first going to take the email and password, which we are taking it now, and now we are going to search for whether the user exists or not. Okay, so let's see. But as we are using email here, we also need to add the username field. That will be another parameter which we need to add here. Username field will be email, to tell the function that we are going to use the email in place of the username field. Okay, and now let's add a try catch block. Okay, not like this, try catch, which here will be catching error, and in the error we are going to write done with error. So done is going to pass this error to the function. Okay, and now inside the try we are going to search for the user. So const user equal to await user, which we need to import from the models, and we are going to find it. So user dot find one, and up here we are going to find it using the email, which will be equal to email. Like if the email is equal to the email, then if there is no user, that means the user doesn't exist, and we are going to return done. And the first parameter will be is like, I think the first parameter is error. Let's see what's the first parameter. So yeah, as you can see here, the first parameter takes error. Then the user, in our case the user doesn't exist, so we are going to pass null. And after that, in options, it is going to take a message, I guess. Yeah, message. So we are going to pass message. So the first will be null, like the user does, there is no error. And after that, the user is false, like we have not got the user. And in here we need to pass an object to say that the user does not exist. But we are not going to give this message in our front end, otherwise there can be a security vulnerability. So in both the cases where the password doesn't match or we didn't get the user, we are going to send invalid credentials, right? So here, invalid credentials. Okay. And if the user exists, then we are going to use this password and encrypt with the salt. So that we are going to do using the function which we have used earlier in our create user. So let's go to auth of the controller, and here we have used this one. So let's copy it, and inside the index gonna paste it here. Okay. Now here we are going to pass the salt as user.salt, because we are going to get the salt from the user which we have fetched from our database. And then the next will be the password, not the request.body.password, because here we are going to get the password from here, which we will be passing from the front end. So it will be password. Okay, fair enough. And now up here we are going to check whether the hashed password is equal to the password which we are getting from the database. So if we do like this, like let's say we will be passing that if the hashed password is not equal to, if it is equal to the user dot password, then we will be returning done with a success message. But it doesn't work like that. We need to use a different algorithm to check this stuff. But let's first try with this thing. So here we are, if both are equal, then we are going to pass null, false, like there is no error. And okay, sorry. So yeah, if they are equal, then we are going to put the null and false, and here we are going to put the user. So in place of user, we are going to sanitize the user, because we don't want to give all the details to the login function. We just want the ID and the role, because as you know, the function, the login function, is only going to make the JWT token, and for that it only need the ID and the role. So we are just going to give it the ID and the role. So here we are going to use that sanitize user, and going to pass the user. Okay. That's it. And the message will be like, Actually we don't need to send any message up here. Okay. um, I was thinking that we don't have to make that token in that function. We can directly make it from here. So otherwise, okay, let's make it there also. It is also possible. But first, let's check whether this is going to work or not by console logging the hashed password, and here console log the user.password. I know this is not going to work because the format of these two passwords will be different, but still let's check. First we need to add the local strategy up in our as a middleware. So for adding them we need to go to route, and up in the before the login user we need to use like this: passport dot authenticate using local. So using this we are going to check the authentication, and first let's get into the body. Yeah, up here in a raw format, in the JSON format actually, we are going to pass the email as let's say, what email do we have in our database? Let's check in our compass, MongoDB compass actually, and as a password let's say something 1 2 3 4 5 6. Actually I don't remember what password I have made earlier. So okay, so just let's make a new user. In the user, here we have j@gmail.com, but I can't remember the password actually, so let's first delete this one. Okay, and let's make a new user. Copy it, paste it here, use the post, and inside the body give the necessary details, like what details do we need? So here for the login we need the email, password, first name, last name, and date of birth. Okay, so here we need to create user. Okay, and up here we need to give the email as j@gmail.com, and then the password, which will be 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then the first name, which will be S, and for the last name it will be D. Lots of mistakes, so let's fix them. And D, then we will be having date of birth, which will be like 12 22 33, something like this, as we are going to store it in the form of string, so we don't need these stuffs. Okay, whatever. So let's hit post, and here we have the user, and the user is created successfully, and the password is 1 2 3 4 5 6. So we only need the email and password for the login. So here let's post it here, and let's hit the send, and here we are getting some error. Okay, so index.js, line number 49 up here, and line number 49 we are getting some error as done. Okay, so this the for the error. Okay, interesting. So what's the error? hmm. First let's check whether this is like the request is coming or not by console logging. Let's see this is working or not. So this is working. Let's console log this part and let's hit send, and this is working. So it is working. This part is working, and here let's get the user up here, and let's check whether the user is coming or not. And we are also getting the user successfully from here, and here it won't work because we have the user. And for the next part we are going to, okay, did I imported the crypto? Okay, I have not imported the crypto, so maybe for that it is giving an error. So let's go to auth and import the crypto, paste it here somewhere like this, and now hit send. And yeah, so as you can see, let me clear the terminal once, and then you will be able to see it clearly what I am willing to show you. So we only have 4 console log. Okay, this is console log for the error. So up here in this function we only have 2 console logs. So let's give some string to differentiate them. So this will be the hashed password which we have obtained, and this is the hashed password which we have fetched from the database hashed password. Okay, now if I sent it, then you will be able to see that the hashed password which we have currently made is in this format, and this is in some other format which looks quite different from our hashed password. So that's the reason why we can't check them using this operator, this equal operator. Okay, so that's the reason. So we need to try something different. So for checking, we can, let's see in our documentation up here. I guess it have gave us some stuffs to check whether how to authenticate. Let's see. Yeah, so up here we have the, and after that we can use this stuff. So if not a crypto dot timing is safe, and here we need to give the password which is coming from the database, and here we will be giving the hashed password. And then this for if they don't match, then we can return as incorrect password, otherwise we can return that the password is correct. So we can use this stuff. So let's copy it and paste it to check. So up here we are going to give the user dot password, and here we need to give the hashed password, and here it is going to return false like invalid credentials. It is same as this one, like this for if the password doesn't match, and if they do match, then we are going to return something like token. So we are going to make the token here. We can also make the token in our function, but let's make the token here in our login function actually, but let's make the token here. So equal to JWT dot sign sanitize user hello. So I guess I have not um yeah, so I need to import the JWT also here. Up here let's paste up here, and now this is the token. I don't want to return it actually, so Here we are making the token of sanitize user, and the token secret will be for now hello. I guess I have wrote hello up here also. Let's check. Yeah, hello. Okay, so we are going to change that also, but for now let it be hello. A very difficult password. Okay, and now done with null and sanitize the user. Or we can do one thing, like we can sanitize the user and we also need to send the token, right? So we can just use a spread operator in here, and this is going to do the job. So here we will be getting the ID along with the role. Let's check the parameters first. Yeah, yeah, so it is working, and it is going to like give the user along with the token, and this token we need to pass like this full object we need to pass to our login. But first let's check one whether this is going to work or not. So user, okay, and let's remove this console log because we know this is working. And now let's check whether like we are going to like now the checking is done or not. So if we will be able to get the user, that means the checking is going on successfully. Let's see. Let's hit post, and as you can see, the we are getting the user, but we are also going to get an error, that is login session requires session support. Did you forget to use express session middleware? Okay, so why is this error coming in? Because to use the local strategy we also need to add the sessions. Okay, so for that we need to use the sessions. So how to implement the sessions? So for that let's go to the documentation and let's see the documentation actually from here. In the username password, I guess. Okay, so let's see. um okay, I want to know how I am going to use the sessions, but here I'm not getting anything for the sessions. Let's go to authentication and let's see. Hmm. Okay, I guess it will be yeah, up here in the app.js. Yeah, so here we need to import the session first, and for that we need to import the express session. So let's go up here and import the express session on the top actually, and let's make it const. So const session equal to express session. If I remember, I have installed the express session. Let's see whether I really have installed them or not. So This is for the backend express session. Yeah, so we have installed the express session already, and for the next step we also need to implement these stuffs. So hmm, here let's copy this stuff, and also we need the cookie parser. But let's we are going to use the cookie parser later on, but first let's use this. So after the imports, hmm, let's say use the express session, and okay, here we need to add server, and in the store we are not going to use SQLite, so just remove it. And yeah, so like this we are going to use sessions. And for the next part, um, now I don't think it is going to give us an error. Okay, so now also it is going to give us an error, failed to serialize user into session. Okay, so we need to add a serializer also. So what does a serializer do? So for the description, the serializer is called after a user is authenticated. Like for example, a user login. So this method takes the user object and converts it into a form that can be stored in the session. So in this case, it is the storage that a user ID and the role in the session, and the result object is then added to the session by the express session middleware. Okay, and there is also a term called as a deserialize user, and it is called every time a request is made in the server, and the method takes the user object from the session and then converts it back into a full user object. And in this case, it is simply returning the user object as it was stored in the session. So this user object is then attached. Okay, sorry. So yeah, this user object is then attached to the request body as a request.user, making it accessible throughout the request handling process. So we will be deep downing in these stuffs, but first let's use the serialize user up here. So let's go in documentation, but first, okay, let me write the description for you. So serializable serialize user is called after a user is authenticated. Example, a user logs in. Okay, so whenever we are going to log in a user, or the as we have checked in our local strategy, whenever a user is authenticated and we have checked the password and email everything, then this method will be called, and this method takes the user object and converts it into a form that can be stored in a session. So here we don't actually need to like add everything in the session, because we are not going to use the default session. We are going to use the JWT tokens for the authentication, but it needs the session, so for that we need to implement them. So um, what for safety reasons, so we are going to use the session. So in this case it is going to store, so it is going to store like the user ID and role in the session. okay, and the resulting object is then added to the session by the express session sorry for the cough, express session middleware. So this is the description for the serialized user. And now for the deserialized user, so deserialized user is so it is called every time a request is made to the server, and this method takes uh, takes the user object from the session. Like in the serialized user, we are going to pass this information into the session, and the deserialized user is going to take the session, and from that session it is going to extract the object like the id and the user, okay, session, and converts it back into a full user object. In our case, that is the id and the role. So let's write that also. So in this case, it is simply returning the user object as it was stored in the session, and this user object is then attached to the request object as request.user. So we are going to use this request.user in our login, you will see that, and then making it accessible throughout the request handling process, okay. So this is the function of the serialized user and deserialized user. So let's check for the serialized and deserialized user in the documentation. Okay, so in the documentation, actually, let's go into the user and password up here, and here we will be finding the implementation of, okay, the implementation of the serializable and deserializable user, but we need to find it. It should be somewhere here. Let's see. Yeah, so I have got these two functions, the serializable and the deserializable user. So just copy it, and then now just paste it after here, okay. So this is the serializable function, and after this is authenticating the user, it will send it into the serializable user, and then the serializable user will be containing function here, as okay. So here in the function we need to return the user, okay. Actually up here in the cv we don't need the username, picture, etc. So just remove these things, and here we are going to use the sanitize user only. So sanitize user, okay. So I guess we have used the sanitize user, but so it is giving us some error. Let's see why it is giving us an error like this. Okay, So as the sanitized user is returning us an object, so we don't have to put it into another object, so we can do like this. So after we log in, it is the request is going to put inside this serializable user, and this serializable user is going to convert the sanitized user, like the ID and the role, into a session. Let's see now. Up here it is already showing a session. Okay, let's clean these things. And up here we have a create session. Here, how to remove these stuffs? Okay, so now let's just console log the user, and let's console log here that this is serialized user, and then up here it will be deserialized user. Okay, let's see at what time both are running. And now so according to the theory, it should work after we have authenticated the user. So let's see. When I hit send, so as you can see, from here we are like here we are printing the user, and after that we are printing that this is serialized user, and after that we are like printing the ID, role, and the token, and these are the same things which we have passed from here in the done, like the sanitized user and the token. And if you see here, then you will be able to see that we have added the session in here in the front end, and it consists of value. So this value is encrypted, which is the same value which is the sanitized user and the token. So this is encrypted in this format. Okay, yeah, so fair enough, we are getting all these stuffs. Now let's remove these things, but we also need to add the JWT token up here, so we are going to do that in our function. Here in the response we have added the token, but we will be using it in our function to set the JWT token. But for now, I hope you got the meaning of serialized user, and I have shown you the practical demonstration of it. Now for the deserializable user, um, for now only the serializable user should be working, right? And now when we will be checking it using the JWT, then deserialized user should be used, like according to the definition. It The method is used to converting the session into a full object. So let's see how it is going to work. But first, yeah, it is working and it is returning us the user. And as I have told you, we are going to get the like the request.user in our function. Let's use that in our login user. Let's see whether we are getting something in our request.user. So console.log request.user, we should be getting the like the sanitized user along with the token. Let's see, like after that middleware, this login user should be called. Let's check now, and as you can see, we are getting the login user from here. Okay, so now we can set the token, right? So up here in the login user, let's set the token. So const user equal to request.user, and then response.cookie, like it will be similar to this stuff. So response.cookie actually. Yeah. So response.cookie, JWT cookie with the token. So the token will be, we are getting from the user, so it will be user.token. This token up here, we are going to use this, and the time will be like for 1 day, and then HTTP only will be true and status will be 201. Okay. So if I log in again, here we are going to see the JWT token also. Let's check it by hitting send, and as you can see, we are getting the JWT token successfully. Now, there is one more error. Let's see what's the error. Doc is not defined. Okay. Up where doc is not defined in 51. Okay. So here we are getting doc, and okay, we don't need doc here. Um we don't actually need to send any response, just send 200. Okay, so here write send status 200, that it is successful, the login is successful. Okay, and now let's check, and as you can see, we have the serialized user up here and there is no error. Along with that, we have the JWT token. Okay, so we have made the login functionality successfully. Now, the next step is we are going to use the JWT token to authenticate any request, whether it is the same user who is logged in and trying to access something. We are going to check that. For that, we need to make one more function. So let's make it as exports dot check user equal to request response, and here in this check user, actually let me show you in the drawing only. So for example, let's say up here, let's say this is our front end application. Okay, and it consists of the JWT token. Let's say this one, which consists of our JWT token, which we have set in the browser, and now it is going to use a fetch request to fetch something like, let's say he want to fetch his profile. So it is going to use the JWT token, like it is going to give the JWT token along with the request. So it is going to give a request. Okay, and uh, with the request it is going to send the JWT token, and we need to authenticate it. So how we are going to authenticate it? So here also we are going to use the middleware, which will be a JWT middleware. Okay, so let's say this is the JWT middleware. It will be similar to this middleware, and it is going to take the JWT token and convert it into ID and role. Okay, so like this. So this function is a JWT middleware. uh, let's write the definition also. Okay, so a middleware which can authenticate us using the JWT token, which is provided by our browser every time we make a request. And now as it is going to send us a JWT token, we are going to convert it into the ID and the role, because as you know, the JWT token is made using the ID and role. If you remember, I have shown you here. So here we are going to decrypt it again, and we will be getting here ID and role, and then we are again going to check whether the user exists or not by using the find user by ID. Okay, and if find user by ID gets a user, then we are going to do something, otherwise we are going to do another thing. Let's see the case when it doesn't get a user. So here no user. Okay, and if there is no user, we are just going to return false or unauthorized, and if there is a user, then we are going to give that request to the router, and the router is going to fulfill the request. So let's say this is the router, or whatever request he have made, he will be served. Okay, so this is the request, and as we have checked the request, we are going to send him the response. Like if there is the request for the profile, we are going to give the profile to the user, right? And this is the route. So this is how we are going to check the user, right? So let's first console log or response, like check the route whether it is working or not. So let's see up here, up in the authentication route, let's add this one. So it will be a get route of check user with the check user, and now let's check the user. So up in the header, if you remember, we have the ID, actually we have the cookie, and okay, for now we are actually not checking anything, so we don't need these stuffs. Like we have not used any authentication like JWT, so we are just checking for now whether the route is working or not. And as you can see, we are getting everything blank because I guess I have not sent a response. Okay, so here for now the request.user is not going to contain anything, so let's send a message that request received, and let's see by sending it, and as you can see the route is working. Okay, so now we are going to make the JWT authentication to check whether the JWT token belongs to the user or not, or whether the JWT token is like authenticated or not, or the user who is making the request is authenticated or not. So let's go to index.js, and here let's implement the JWT strategy in the similar way we have implemented the local strategy. So just go to the documentation, go to strategies, go to JWT, go up here, and then we have installed a passport JWT. Okay, and um, so this is how we need to implement the JWT strategy. Just copy it from here and paste it after the local strategy. Okay, it is giving us some error that JWT strategy is not, defined, so we need to import the JWT strategy also. Okay, sorry for that. So we need to import it like this. Okay, like this. And after the local strategy, let's enter the JWT token strategy. Let's make it const. And now passport JWT dot strategy, we have added it. Now it is not getting options. So let's see what are options. So option is a blank object, and inside this we need to add a secret key, a JWT from request. Okay, and along with that, the JWT from request. So most probably it is going to it needs a converter which is going to convert the request into, like, the from the request, which will be a cookie, which will in the, as the JWT token is in form of a cookie. So for that reason we need to make a converter to convert the cookie details into pure object. Okay, so let's make this stuffs. Let's see. um so after this server.use, um let's paste it here. Let's make this one const. So opts. And now it is throwing error that JWT strategy requires a secret or key. So similar to this one, secret key. For now, just add this one only. After the opts, let's paste opts dot secret key equal to, let's make it hello, as we have added the same thing in that, in making the JWT token also. So okay, and the next thing which we are going to use is opt.jwt from request. Ops.jwt from request, and it is going to take a converter. So we need to make a converter which is, let's say it will be a cookie extractor, and it is going to take the token and convert it into pure object. Actually it won't convert it into a pure object, it is going to return the token, but first from the request we need to extract the token. So for that, let's make a function out here which will be, let's say it is going to take a request, and then um, we are going to make a token. So let token, initially it will be, let's say, null, and then if the request exists and the request consists of cookies, okay, not cookies, it's cookies, then we are going to extract the token, the JWT token. So token that equal to response request dot cookies and JWT, and after that we are going to return the token. Actually, let's write this one in a function, and let's make it in the constant in the services. So exports dot cookie extractor, let's name it. Okay, Yeah, looks good to me. Now here let's add the cookie extractor up. Okay, up here, cookie extractor. Now it should work now. Let's check. In the cookie extractor, here we have ops, and here we will be finding the user. But first let's check whether these stuffs are working or not. Like we are going to get the JWT payload or not. So let's console log the JWT payload, and let's check whether we are getting that payload or not. Let's see what's in the JWT payload. So hit check user. Okay, but first we also need to add the JWT in the middleware. So here we have gave it the name, and now in the auth routes let's add that. So passport dot authenticate, and the name will be JWT. Okay, not one, JWT. Okay, fair enough. Now let's check, and it is showing us unauthorized. And why it is showing us unauthorized? Let's see. So in the index, I hope our cookie extractor is working. Let's see whether what's inside the request. So it's sent, and here we are getting the request up in the terminal. Is there anything called as cookies? Okay, there is the cookies. I guess it's because we have not added the cookie parser. The cookie parser is required to read the cookies. So actually this cookie is just giving us the actually here we are getting the JWT token, but I guess we can get it by adding the cookie parser up here. So let's add the cookie parser. Let's see if we have added the cookie parser. So yeah, we have the cookie parser, and then after the sessions, I guess we are going to add the cookie parser, or just after this one let's add the server.use cookie parser. Did I imported that? Yeah, so I have imported that, and now let's send it, and now it is stuck because we are not sending any response. But now let's see whether we have the cookies or not, and this time we have the cookies, as you can see here. Now from here we can extract the JWT. We like if we have not added the cookie parser at that time also, we can extract the JWT token, but we need to make another function to separate it from that string, because if you will see at that part, it was a complete string. Let's search it. So yeah, it was a complete string. So using the cookie parser, we are able to get the cookie. And now um, let's remove the console log, as it is going to show us quite messy stuffs. Let's clear the terminal once, and now let's use check user, and inside the index part, here, up here, After the JWT token, we should get the JWT payload. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So we are able to convert the JWT payload into ID and role. And now the main part, we are going to check whether the user exists or not, as I have told you in here that after getting the ID and role, we are going to check whether the user exists or not. So let's do that. So here let's write a try catch block. Okay, so as I have told you, this is going to take the error and the user which is not here currently. So let's fetch the user. Const user equal to await user dot find by id and JWT token dot payload dot id. Now if you remember, we are using the underscore id, so we need to find it like this. And await, we need to add a sync function to use await, so a sync function. And now we should get the user actually. So let's check console.log user. So we should be fetching the whole user from the database, and as you can see, we are getting the whole user up here now in this function. And now if the user exists, then we are going to return done with null, and we don't have to send all the stuffs to the response, sorry, to the request of check user. We only need the id and the role, so sanitize user here also and add here user. Else we are going to return the same thing. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So here if the user exists, then we are going to pass the request to the check user function in the auth controller, and here in the check user function now we should be having the request user. So console log request user. Okay, yeah, so as you can see, the sanitize user is working, and here we are getting the id, and the deserialized user should also get used. Okay, so okay, for now we have the request.user, and now let's give a response, an appropriate response, not like request received and etc. So if request.user is here, that means the JWT authentication is working and the user is authenticated. And so if the user exists, then we are going to send a response with status of 200 dot json with request.user. So we are going to send the id and the role, otherwise response.send status of 400, which means you are not authenticated. Now let's see, we are getting the users, and if I remove the cookies, and now hit send, then it is showing me unauthorized. So okay, the check user is also working fine. Now Let's do it again, like creating the user. um, Up here, let's remove the cookies. Okay, there is no cookies actually. Here response, and also let's delete the user. Sorry. So let's delete the user, and now let's hit send. And as you can see, we have JWT token, but in this case, as you can see, we are not making the session. Here, if you remember, we should be having a session like this, connect.sid, and this is the session value. So it should work, but we need to make the session also inside the cookies. In the login, if we log in, as you can see, this session is made, but when we sign like create the user, it is not getting made. So we need to make it, right? So for making it, we can add it up here. We should be using this in our future videos, but for now just add it. It is not going to make any difference, but still. So how we need to add this, let's see in the documentation. In the local, I guess it should be showing us. Okay, let's see in the documentation, user and password. In the sign up, let's see. Yeah, so here request.login, and this is going to make the session. So request.login, and inside this, okay, and inside this we are going to make give the response, and inside the user I am going to give sanitize user with the user, and in the function we are going to check here if there is an error or not, and if there is an error, then the response.status of 400.json error. Otherwise, we are going to make the token, right? So this is the token actually. We also need to add it here. So here is the token, and here is the response. Yeah, looks fair enough. And now if we make the user now, it should add the everything. Like first, let's remove the cookie. If you see now, we have the JWT and the connect.sid, because in the login we are making the session, but in the creating the user we were not making the session. So now let's clear the response also, and clear the user. Now let's check. If I send it now, it is going to make okay. So request.login, sanitize user. Request.login is not a function. Okay, request.login is not a function. Why it is so? In the authentication controller, let's see what mistake we did. Let's see in the documentation, we have the sort, we have used these things. And hmm, actually I guess there is no mistake. Okay. Hmm. So request.login should be correct. Let's restart the server once and let's check now. Let's see whether yeah the user is created, so delete it. And now let's check, and the user is been made, but request.login here it is showing an error. So why is it showing an error? Let's go to index.js, and most probably up here we have used server.use session JWT token. um we have body parser.json. Okay. Okay, let's see. We have added the cookie parser. Express session is also there. Sorry. Let's add express.json. I guess this is the error, like this is the part for which we are getting error. Let's see. Express.json, right? Hmm. Let's add it here. Server dot use express.json, and now let's hit send. Okay, first remove this. Okay, now also it is giving us error. Okay, so the error was because we have missed the express app.use passport.authenticate session. So this file is required. So up here under the server.use, I'm going to use server.use passport authenticate. So after setting up the secret and um, resave and save initialization, you are going to use this one. Okay, so this thing is done, and the cookie parser, like the express.json, it is not required because we are adding the body parser, which is quite same, so we don't need that. Okay, so now this time um, let me clear this response one, the user ones, and now let's test. And as you can see, there is no error, and here we are currently making the session along with the JWT, and the serialized user is working. Now if I try to log in, you will see that the deserialized user is also working. And as you know, the deserialized user is used for extracting the like the session data into a real object. So that's the use of it. And if I try to check the user, then also as you can see, the deserialized user is working to check to convert the session into an object. And as you can see, we are getting everything. So let's remove these console.logs. So in the auth of the controller auth, here I guess we have a console log. Yeah, so here we are printing the salt, which we don't want, and then printing the error is okay, and here also. So now I guess everything is fine, and now we are able to check the user if we have the JWT cookie up here. But if I remove the JWT token, let's say I remove this one and now hit send, then also it is going to work because we have the session. But if I remove this thing also, then you will see that it is going to show me unauthorized. Actually, I think that if I remove, like for now, if I check, then it is going to show me that we are an authorized user. But if I remove the JWT token only, and if I hit send, then it is going to show me unauthorized because we are not using the normal session, we are using the JWT token. So for that, JWT token is necessary. Okay, so we have made the backend for creating the user and logging in the user and then checking the user. We are not going to use the checking user in this part of the video, but in the next part we are going to use that. The create user and the login user, we are going to make it now in the front end. So let's go in the front end. Yeah, up here in the front end, let's make the login page. Let's go inside the pages, and up here let's make a file, login page.jsx, and also a sign in page. So it will be not be sign in, it will be sign up page actually. Yeah, so sign up page and write rafc, hit enter to make the function, and also rafc to make the function component. And now for the next part, let's add them in the router. So in the app, here let's add them in the router. What should we name them? Let's name this them as a login and sign up normal. So here path will be slash sign up, and element will be sign up page. Yeah, so this is done, and now the login page. Yeah, so these things are done. Now let's start the front end of the application. So cd front end, and then npm start to start the front end. And then let's make the front end part of the application and integrate all these stuffs. So it is taking some time. Let's go to the nav bar, and if I remember, we have, okay, so the application started. I'm going to give you the drawing in up here. Up here I'm going to upload it. Okay, so you are going to get the drawing also, and let's see, we have the local host, and if I go to sign up, we have the sign up page, and login, we have the login page. Now go to sign up page and let's make this one. So here in our sign up page, okay, first let's make empty tags, and inside the empty tags let's add the nav bar, import it, and then the footer, import it, check the application, looking good. After that, let's make the parts. So let's go to the tailwind components to see if there is any component for us to make the sign up. So tailwind, in the component section, search for sign up. Okay, sign in and registration is here, and I guess it will do the job. So convert it into React, see the code. We already have tailwind css/forms. Let's check it for safety. In the tailwind config we have the forms. Very good. Okay, now I have made it clean. Sign up form, and up here let's paste the code. I hope I have copied it, and now paste it. Okay, so it is not going to paste like this. Let's see the code and just copy directly from here like this and paste it up in between. Now let's see. Yeah, so this is the sign up page. Obviously it is not going to look good, and also we need to add the email, the password, the confirm password, along with the first name, the last name, and the date of birth. So let's make these stuffs. Here also we are going to take the use of the use form. Okay, so here let's see in our admin form page, just copy these stuffs and paste it here, import the use form from React hook form, and now here we have a div. Height is full, flex 1, flex column, everything looks good. Okay, here in this div also everything is looking good. The image we are going to change, and the image will be our logo, as you know. So import logo from assets slash favicon.ico. Okay, so here is our logo. Just remove this src and insert logo here. Now check. Yeah, looking good. Hmm. Here height is actually, let's remove the height and let's set the width as 16 so that it can be a bit large. Okay, and now in the h2 let's write something like become a Nike member, become a Nike member. Okay, and let's open the app side by side. So become a Nike member. Okay, and here also become a Nike member, but we need to change the styles. Like here empty, it's let's decrease the margin as 2. Text will be centered, text will be 2. Okay, um, here also tighter, let's make it tighter. Okay, and let's remove the text gray and make it font bolder. Let's see. Yeah, and then okay, actually let it be text gray 900 and the font will be font bolder. Okay. Hmm. Actually, I don't think we need any font bold, so just remove this one also. Yeah, let's see. Now it is looking kind of good. Let's make everything uppercase and font Oswald. Now it is looking similar to this. Okay. The next thing is we need these stuffs. So in the p tag, let's copy from here. Sorry, paste it here and give some styling like text will be small for the mobile layout. Okay, and then um, tracking will be wider, and then text will be centered. Then something like opacity will be 75. Let's see. Yeah, looking good. I need some gap, so my4, and then let's give leading 5. Now it is looking kind of good. Now we have made this one also. Text center. Okay, MT10 SM MX auto. Okay, so text will be here. We have a form, so here we have method post. Just remove these actions and add here no validation, so we won't get any validation. And on submit it will be handle submit like we have done in our previous admin form, and here it will take data and console log the data, let's say. And now here we have the email and the password, but we need something like this: email, password, confirm password, first name, last name. Okay, and the date of birth. So let's create these stuffs. I guess now we are capable of making these things, and also I have shown you everything in my video of making the admin form, how we are going to use the response and receive. So I am not going to waste the time in making the form. I'm just going to paste it here like this, and also going to change some things like um, here for now I don't need the dispatch. Okay, let's console log the data. So I believe you can make these things yourself. Okay, so yeah, everything is looking good, I guess. Okay, and join us is here, and we need to remove this, and we need to make already a member login here. I don't want to waste time on making the CSS because I hope I have gave enough knowledge about that. So paste it here. Also import the link um, so that we can travel from one link to another, as you can see like this. So the front end is made successfully. Okay, good enough. Now let's see in the terminal whether we are able to console log the data. So s@gmail.com. Password is password @1, password @1. So let me show you everything once, what I have done here for validation. So you will be able to make the input, and in case of registration I have named it email, and the password is in a regex format. Sorry, not the password, the email value will be in, like, the pattern is in regex format. You can just copy it, you don't have to memorize everything. So this is going to check whether you have a @ of or not, whether you have uppercase letter in the password or not, and sorry, in the email or not, and all the other validations which we need in the email. And in the password also it is going to check whether you have @ of a special character and everything. And similarly in the confirm password you need to match the value of the original password. That's the case. And also in the first name, um, you have required equal to first name. This is normal stuff. And here we have the error. Okay, so these are the stuffs. Okay, so everything looks good to me. Let's check. um, let's give here. Let's hit join, and it is showing that password is not matching. Okay, let's give the password something like 123 a gmail @ and okay, let's give the password as password @gmail.com and password @gmail.com. Let's hit join. Okay, must contain at least one uppercase, one lowercase, and one number. Okay, I guess I have. Okay, let's do one thing. So I'm going to make password @1, or yeah, 1. Okay, just copy it and paste it here. Also paste it here and hit join. So generally the password should not be copied. You can do that setting, but I am going to use that. Okay, So as you can see, the password is here, the confirm password is here, first name is here, last name is here, and every data is here. Okay, so the front end of our sign up is done. Now for I am also going to make for the login. So for the login, do the similar type of stuffs like remove this div and also this div, make it a tag, then add the navbar, then the footer, hit save. Just comment down below whether I should make the CSS or not, because I believe that it is wasting our time, because the CSS are generally not that important and you can just copy it from the GitHub repository. If you have doubts about Tailwind CSS, you can ask me. Otherwise, from now I am not going to make the CSS. Sometimes I will, but generally I won't. Okay, so um okay, now I'm going to add this part, the link we need to import, and also there are many validations like error is not there for now. Login error I'm going to remove, and also here console log data. Okay, and I am also going to paste the React form code, import the React form, and logo is not here, so let's import the logo also. Now I guess the login form will be looking better. Yeah, so as you can see here we have the login. So s@gmail.com and password will be password @1. Hit login, and as you can see password @1 is here. So okay, we have successfully made the login also. Now for the next part, let's connect the front end with the backend in the similar way we have done earlier. But here I am going to make a different feature, like a different route. Okay, so for that, hmm, in the features, let's make a login. Up here, where are the features? Okay, so here in the features we have the product, we have the counter. So similar to the counter, I am going to make a auth. So copy the counter and here make it auth API, and here also make auth slice. Yeah, okay, so these stuffs are done. Now remove these things. These stuffs, everything I am going to remove. Let's save. And also we don't have any fetch counter, so instead of the fetch counter I'm going to make a different file, a different function actually. So here I'm going to make create user, and here in the parameters I'm going to pass the user. Okay, and now in the promise, yeah, like this. So in the promise, let's give resolve and reject. We don't need the reject actually here. So const response equal to await fetch, and the API was /auth / create user. Actually, I think the API was like, it was not auth, it was auth. So auth / create user, and it will be a post method. So method will be post, then body will be json.stringify user, and the header will be content type application / JSON, similar to our previous what was the name, that form which we are using to insert the data of the product, that form that okay. So response equal to data, and then const data equal to await response dot json, and for making it async, like await, we need to make it async, the function async, and then we will be resolving the data. That's it. Okay, so I was thinking I also should make the login part for now. Okay, I will make it later on. So create user is done. Now for creating user, let's go to the auth slice, and in the auth slice let's change these things, like it will be user, it will be auth, and here it will be create user. Okay, and here the function will be create user, hit enter, and from here just remove create user. Actually, it was not fetch count, it was create user. Okay, I need to remove the fetch count actually. And it will be user, uh, user. Okay, and that's it. Now we have I want to name it increment async. I'm going to name it as create user async. Okay, fair enough. So this part is also done. For the next part, let's build the reducers, and for the create user async, I am going to add the data into the logged in user. Like if you remember, in our auth controller, here we are sending as a JSON response the ID and the role here. So for that we will be storing it in a variable. Let's call the variable as logged in user, logged in user, which will be initially null, so there is no user for right now, and whenever we create a user it will add the user. So state.logged in user will be action.payload. Okay, also we need to add the auth slice. So go to the store, and up here write auth will be auth reducer, and we need to import the auth reducer. So auth reducer, and here it will be auth / auth slice. Let's see if there is an error or not. Okay, still now there is no error. And um, in this toolkit we have the auth out here where the logged in user is currently null. Okay, and now we are going to send the data from the sign up page. Here currently we are just console logging the data, so we need to dispatch it. So for dispatching it, where is the form? Yeah, here is the form and here is our data. So we need to send the data to that function. So for that we need to use the dispatch. So um, dispatch, and okay, not dispatch event. So dispatch will be create user async, that was the function, and here let's send the data. And dispatch we need to make the variable. So const dispatch equal to use dispatch. This typing errors really sucks. And also use dispatch is not getting imported, so we need to import it manually. So import use dispatch from React Redux. Okay, now let's go to sign up actually, and now let's test the application. If the user will be created, we will be able to see that in our database. Currently let's delete the user from here. Let's make s@gmail.com. The password is password@1, password@1, and first name will be Shubham, last name will be Das, and the month and year will be, let's say, um hmm, whatever, just give anything and hit join. Okay, hit join, and the post request is not working, so user slash create user, and I was hoping that we don't have any user. Okay, user already exists. Okay, in our first, I guess we have made the user. So as you can see here, we have the user. So delete it for now and just click it once, because after clicking it once it should go to the home page, but for now we have not navigated it, so it is not going to get there. But still, let's hit join, and now let's see if we have the user or not. So here we have the user with the ID and the role. So the user is getting logged in successfully. Now we are getting the user up here in our use state, and we can use that to detect whether the user is there or not. So for that we need to make a use selector in our auth. So let's go to auth slice actually, and here let's make a use selector, name it as select log in user, and here state dot auth dot login user, and using this selector we are going to fetch the user in our sign up page. So in the sign up page, let's get the user by using const user equal to use selector, and here it will be select logged in user, and then we can write a statement here that if the user exists, then we are going to navigate. So navigate means it is going to take us to a different route, and it is going to take us to home page. Okay, and also it is giving us some error. Let's see. We are getting the navigate from here, and okay, I also need to give another tag for navigation. Done. And now let's see, do we have the user? Here currently we don't have the user, so refresh it, and after that just delete the user once again. Now let's see, email will be s@gmail.com, password will be password@1, password@1, first name F, second name D, third name, okay, we'll give any random date. And now as you can see, we are redirecting as soon as we are getting the user and we are logged in. And if you see now, we should have the JWT token. So if you will go inside the cookie, you will see here you have the JWT token, and here is our session. That is our JWT token. This is our token which we are going to use to check the user is logged in or not for making any request. Okay, so for now login part is done, and the next thing which we will be making is our sign up part is done, and now we will be making the login part. So everything will be similar, but first let's make the function. So in the auth API, let's make the login user. So export function login user, which will be user. Okay, function. Okay, and here return new promise. Okay, now it is going to take user as parameter, which will be consisting of the email and the password only, and then we are going to use the auth/login. So const response equal to await fetch slash auth, actually not auth, it's auth slash auth slash login user, and here it will be const. So many typing errors. Okay, and the method will be post, and everything will be similar like this. The next thing will be data, but before that we need to check if the response is okay by checking response.ok. Like it can give an error whether like if the email doesn't exist, then we can't log in, and if the password is not correct, we can't log in. So these are the response which we need to take care. So if the response is okay, then we can do something else, otherwise we need to reject the response. So else here it will be const error will be await response dot text. So it is going to give us a text with a reject message. So we are going to reject it here with error, and up here after the resolve add reject. Okay. Also let's make a try catch. If there will be any error, then we will be able to catch in the try catch. reject will be error. Okay, so if the response is okay, then we are going to do something like we are going to extract the data and then resolve the data. Okay. So this function looks good to me. Now let's add it in the auth slice. Up here, let's make the export cost. Actually, let's paste it directly. And now login user async will be here in the auth slice, and here it will be login user. Here also login user. And here we are going to get the data, but here we need to add a try catch. Like if there is an error, it is going to give us in the try catch. So here we will be adding try and catch here with error and console.log error, and the result will be an error. Return. There is a term called reject with value, so we will be using reject with value. But we need to add it here, reject with value. Okay, so reject with value is here with the error. So if there is an error, we can reject it. And now here we need to add the reducer for it. So just copy it down from here. So it will be login user async, and here also it will be a login user async. So if it is pending, then we are going to show it loading. If it is fulfilled, then we are going to make the same thing, like the action.payload will be login user. But if it gets rejected, then we are also going to make a case for that. So something like this: if the login user async is rejected, then what we are going to do is firstly we are going to make the state as idle again, and then the state dot, let's say it will be a login error. State the error we are going to save in a variable called login error, and we are going to show it in the front end like this, which will be action dot payload. Okay, so login user, let's make it here login user, which will be initially null, and it is showing some error. Let's see what the error is. So login error is here and login error is here. Okay, where's the error? It's in number 12. Okay, line number 6, sorry. So it's an object, so I need to give colon instead of equals. Okay, so yeah, this is for the login, and now we can add it in our login page. So in our login page, let's add it in here, dispatch, um, and it will be login user async and the data. Let's import the login user and also let's make the dispatch. So const dispatch equal to use dispatch, and we also need to import it from the React Redux. Okay, fair enough. So now we have everything up here. We are going to do the same thing like in the sign up. If we get the user, we will be redirecting it to the home page. Similarly in here also we are going to do that, but first let's import the navigate, and also for the user we are going to use the same selector from here. Paste it right below the user form, import the use selector, also the select login user. That should do the work. Okay, now if we will write the login successfully, what's this? Okay, sorry, so slash login, currently in our state I don't think we have anything login user, we don't have. So let's write s@gmail.com, and then the password was password@1. Now hit login, and it is not getting logged in and showing us something like unauthorized. It's because I guess I the S will be capital in the email. Let's see if I log in again, and now it is showing something like a non-serializable value was detected. Okay, so do we have the user? We don't have the user, we have the error instead, but the error is empty. Okay. So it's getting some error. Let's see by console logging it in here. Console log user. Let's see. So s@gmail.com, and the password is password@1, and let's hit login, and it is showing unauthorized password. Okay, 21. It's not 21, it is @1, and now password@1 is here. Expected token, oh okay, is not valid JSON. Okay. So let's see in the error. Was the error rejected? Okay, that's the error which you get. Fair enough. And all in the auth slice .js24 we are getting this error number 24. Okay. Most probably there is no error in the backend because we have tested it. Let's test it once more. It will be post, and this will be login user. In the body raw JSON, it will be email will be s@gmail.com, and password will be password .1, and now hit send. It is showing okay, which is good. And it is giving us the cookies. Okay. it is giving us an okay response, but um, we should probably check it once. So here inside the cookies we are just sending response as send status okay, but we should send the user instead of okay, because here we are in the response we are taking the response. So let's give it a status of 201 that we have logged in successfully dot json, and in the json it will be sanitize user of user. Okay, so this time we are going to get the, like here we are going to get the id and the use role. Okay, we are only getting the role but not the id. Why is it so? Let's console log the user and check it once more. In our backend it should get print, so we have the id but we are not getting the id here. um okay, here we are printing the JWT token which we don't want. And here we don't want the sanitize users also, like the CLIs and deserialize. So now let's check. If I send it, then we are only getting the role as user but no id in the auth. I need to be sure that this console log is coming from this one only. So now hit send and user is okay. So this is coming from this. Now user dot token is here, and then we have the sanitize user, and inside the sanitize user we are giving the id as user dot id. Okay, but here we are getting it as um, like we are getting it in normal id, because from the index we are setting like this. As a sanitize user we are sending it. So probably we can do one thing, that is um hmm. So in the services it is not getting a underscore id, so we can set it directly from here in the auth. The id will be like this. The id will be the user.id and the role will be user.role, something like this. And if I send it now, it should give me the id and role, which it is giving. So that was a small setting. We can change it from the index.js, but I directly wrote it here. It's not a big problem. Okay, so this thing is done. Now if I try to log in, I should log in, right? And this time I am getting logged in, and as you can see here we have the user up here in our logged in user. So yeah, and we are also going to have the token which we have. And if we try to go into the login, then the user is getting removed. Okay. So this is the problem. So what we can do is What can we do so that the user should not get removed? Here, if we see in the cookie, we have the cookie, but here if we see, we don't have the login user. So now we can use the JWT and use the check user function to check if the user is there or not, and if it is there, then we are going to fetch the user from the backend and set it in the user of the use state. So we can do that. So I was thinking that we are not going to use that functionality here like the check user, but we have to. So let's do that also in the auth API. But first let's check one thing, like what happens if I give the wrong email or the wrong password gmail.com and something like this, and if I log in now, it is not taking me there, and along with that it should give an error here. The error is unauthorized, so we need to show this error, right? Because it's none of the use if we keep it in our use state or the redux state. So we need to use show it. So for showing it, just go to first go to auth slice first, and in the auth slice we can catch, we have got the error here, login error, so we can make a use select. So similar to this, select login error, we can name it as select login error, and here it will be login error. Okay, and now we will be fetching the error directly in our login page. Okay, so here we can import it. So const login error equal to use state or use selector, and then select login error. Okay, fair enough. And if there is a login error, then we can show that error like under the password. I'm going to show it. So this is our password, and here we are showing an error for the password, and after this div we can show the error. So if there is a login error, then we can show it like this. Now I hope it is going to show me gmail.com and some password and hit login, then now it is showing unauthorized. Okay, so yeah, this part is done. Now to check the user, we have to do something like, let's see. So for making the functionality, let's go here and go to auth slice, and let's make another function for checking the user. So actually go to auth API, and now in the auth API export function and check user. Okay, now everything will be same like this one. So just copy it, paste it here, but here we don't need any user, we just need response. So auth slash create check user, and it's going to give the response. So in the auth slice, make a similar thing like this with the name of check user, check user, you need to import it and remove the parameters from here, and that's it. Now we have made this one. Now let's make the reducer for this. First one will be, okay, so where is the check user? Okay, so check user, make a reducer for the check user. It will be, first one will be first one will be for the pending, and the second one will be for the fulfill. Okay, now the state.loggedin user will be action.payload. Okay, so logged in user will be added here only in the similar way, and yeah, that's it. So from here we are going to get the user, and we will be placing this function directly in the app, because whenever the app loads we want it to check whether there is a, like whether there is a cookie or a JWT cookie or not, and if the JWT cookie is there, then if it is authenticated or not, and if it is authenticated we are going to get that response and set the select logged in user directly there. Like we will be adding the user in the select logged in user, and it is going to check automatically whether we are logged in or not. Okay, so that's the thing. Now let's go to app.js. Here let's make another use effect, and inside this use effect just add dispatch here, and then dispatch the check user async. Now whenever the app reloads it is going to check. Okay, now it is showing us some error. Let's see what's the error. hmm. Builder.addCase. Okay, if I remove this use effect, it's not for this. So in the check user async, here we are using check create user, so right here check user, and now it should be working. Now if we go to login, then we won't be able to go to login as we are logged in again, and we need to make functionalities to log out. But for now just delete the JWT token, and if we go to login again then we will be able to log in because we don't have the JWT token. Okay, awesome. So if we go s@gmail.com again, like if we log in again with the password and now log in, you can see we are getting logged in again and we have the JWT token, and now we don't have to log in again and again. If we try to log in then it is not letting us log in because we have the token, and using the token it is fetching the user. Wow, pretty amazing. Okay, so that's all for this video. See you in the next video.